doing that, I was face to face with it. It was holding me by my throat, and it felt like it was sucking something out of me.
I probably should have been more scared than I was when I witnessed the exorcism.
I turned and looked on my right side. When I did, there's a beam on the side of the tree, a large beam. It's looking at me and I'm looking at it.
After I hit the lock button and looked back up, I saw red eyes staring back at me.
That they're going to show multiple gods all over the earth, be able to speak in people's languages, and at that point, it kind of converge into this one entity, which will be revealed as extraterrestrial. You'll realize that aliens are the gods of old, and at that point, it'll wipe religion out of the context of humanity.
No way, it couldn't have been a person, I know that. I know that people can't run through the woods like that.
So this thing comes into view, and I see it. It's 50 yards away from me. It's walking on two legs. It's huge. This is a big, hairy-looking being.
Welcome. I'm your host, and this is uNcomfortable.
Welcome back to the show, my friends. I am your host, Eric Szilagyi. If you've had an uncomfortable experience and you'd like to have it featured on the show, please get a hold of me at contact.uncomfortable@gmail.com. The world wants to hear your story. They want to hear your experiences. So get a hold of me and let's get yours on a future episode of Uncomfortable. If you don't already, make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, both at Uncomfortable Podcast 65. And please remember to leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you can. That's the main way that you, the listener, can help get this show out in front of more people. And with more people listening, that means more people coming forward with their experiences. Head over to Uncomfortable Podcast on YouTube and check out the show in its video form. While you're there, hit subscribe and the notification bell. That way you'll be made aware every time I upload a video version of this podcast. Make sure to check out the new Uncomfortable link tree in the show notes below. I've been asked by a lot of you guys to try to get all the different appearances that I've had on other podcasts together in one place so you can find them easily. Well, here you go. The address is linktree/uncomfortable1, and uncomfortable is spelled like the logo with the lowercase u and the uppercase N. If you're interested in helping support the show, head over to patreon.com, Uncomfortable Podcast 770, and check out what we have there. Or if a standalone contribution is more to your liking, you can do that as well through Red Circle and their Sponsor This Podcast tab. The links for those and our Discord server will be in the show notes below. Bigfoot and Brews and Spirits 2 will be September 14th. VIP dinner the night before. Both will be held at Sister Lakes Brewing Company in Dowagiac, Michigan. Tickets are live now. We have Amy Boo from the Olympic Project and her project Zoo Book, Scott Tompkins from the Bigfoot Mapping Project, Salt Fort State Park naturalist John Hickenbottom, and special guest author, journalist Chatan Noir. And finally, fan favorite, the Archbishop Christina Rake will round out the paranormal side of things. Most recent edition, we've got Bodine the Bigfoot coming back. So he's a photo bomber. He likes chasing the kids around. He's a lot of fun to have. So we're super excited to have him back this year. There's a new ticket this year that is for the day of event and the VIP dinner. It's a combo ticket. There's a discounted rate. So if you buy the combo ticket, you're getting like $15 off regular price of the day of event and the VIP dinner. That's going to be 2 hours with all 5 speakers and your dinner and 1 drink, adult beverage or pop or water, whatever you want, is included in the price of that. So head over. You can find that on the link tree. There is a link to that. There's a link to the Eventbrite page, and you can also find that on the Bigfoot and Brews and Spirits 2 Facebook event page. Tonight's guest is a master storyteller and really needs no introduction. So if you're ready, let's get into it. If you will, please give a warm, uncomfortable welcome to James Williams, Mr. Dark Waters himself. James, welcome to Uncomfortable.
What's up, Eric? How you feeling, baby?
I'm feeling great, man. So happy that you're able to join me on this. I appreciate your time. Dogman, dude, I've had so many people ask me to get some legit Dogman stuff on here, and you're the Dogman man.
So, absolutely. Unfortunately, I am branded as a Dogman man.
Well, if anybody pays any attention to your channel or your content, they will know that you are not limited to just that, but you have made a name for yourself in that arena, and like it or not, it follows you. So that sounds a little ominous. That sounds a little ominous, but it does follow you. So to pacify my audience and myself, honestly, because I've had a couple of people who have kind of touched on the idea that they may have had a Dogman experience, and I've really been left wanting. I had one gentleman on who was from the North American Dogman Project, and I'll be honest with you, I had some really good reviews of that show, and it just left me flat. I got nothing out of it, so I need you to wow me.
Well, I mean, we'll go there. We'll go there. So thank you for allowing me to come on and hang out with you and your audience. And I appreciate you choosing me to talk about Dogman. I guess let's start with some of the credentials as it pertains to Dogman. So when the Dogman topic unfolded maybe 9 years ago, there were only 4 people who were really covering the subject from what I would call a YouTuber standpoint, or it's kind of like promoting it standpoint. There was Linda Godfrey, who unfortunately passed away. There is Vic Cundiff, who's still alive and has Dogman encounters, who's still doing what he does. There was Britton Salwin, and then there was me. So I was the last one to come along. Excuse me. And so since that time period where that topic was relatively unknown, I mean, it really was relatively unknown at that time, it's exploded and become kind of a competitor for the topic of Bigfoot. It went through its growth phase where, in my opinion, it was really a whole bunch of genuine encounters. And then things kind of hit a tipping point where it gets monetized, and it gets monetized to the point to where bits and pieces of encounters are taken and they're melded together to make new encounters, and people are popping up out of the blue with stuff that, is repeat stuff from 9 years ago, and bada bing, bada boom. However, the phenomenon is very, very real. It's documented and it's real. We have enough evidence nowadays to prove that it's real. We have the Fort Pierce video. We have videos from Linda Godfrey. We have videos that Britton Salwin put out years ago. We have iShine videos. We have ample enough proof and evidence that Dogman is real. The question is, what are they? Where do they come from? And how do people encounter them?
Right.
And for me, having an engineering background, my mind had to kind of wrap around it scientifically. And so I started taking data points of Dogman encounters. Like, someone would call me with their encounter, and I would go through the vetting process. For those of you guys who don't know about how I get my encounters, in every encounter, there's nobody that can submit something to me by email. If I'm gonna repeat anything you ever said, you have to speak to me personally, and then you have to go through my vetting. And my vetting is extreme. My vetting is, quite frankly, it aggravates people. But it's how I get to the truth, and it's how I extract all the data points. And it's a process of listening to that person tell their story, looping that person, injecting lies into their story, seeing if they detect the lie, forcing them to confront the lies that I put in their story, hanging up with them, waiting a day or so, calling back, injecting more lies, trying to figure out what's what, listening to things, little subtle hints, like if you say you and your wife were together doing a Dogman encounter, and your wife is there with you, but she's not talking about it, then I know that you're lying, because every eyewitness who's ever encountered something like this, when it's husband and wife, they both have been scared out of their mind, and they both have something to say. Yeah. And then there's just the knowledge base that I have of the physique and the atomic features of these things and how they're built, that there's certain things that I've held back over the years that I haven't told anyone, that allow me to get to the truth of whether somebody's like really just being honest. And more than anything, You can tell if an eyewitness is being honest based on the emotions that they go through. People who've experienced this, when they're telling their encounter, it's a emotional roller coaster that they're on. I mean, they're going up, down, left, right. Sometimes they're excited, other times they're terrified, sometimes they're crying, sometimes they're laughing. It's truly a traumatic event.
And I notice with people who have claimed to have had Bigfoot experiences, the same things that you're talking about. Because if they're jumbled up, if they start like, I forgot, I got to go back and I got to tell you this, and as they're remembering things, and it's not quite in a sequential form.
Yep.
Or the other red flag is if they start using terminology that is very common in the Bigfoot communities, like structures or footfalls and stuff like that. Normal people don't say, "Oh, I heard these footfalls." They're saying, "I heard loud footsteps in the woods." It was. So I get what you're saying, and that's a smart way to go about vetting.
Well, it's the only way to go about vetting, because at the end of the day, it's the topic has reached a point to where it's so popular and it's so monetized that you can literally start a channel from 0 subscribers and do maybe 30 Dogman encounters that are made up, and you'll grow to 1,000 subscribers overnight. And so it's polluted, is what I would say it is now. It's no longer as pure as it used to be. There's conferences and all the rest of this foolishness that's going on, stuff that just wasn't going on at the point in time where it got started. But I just wanted to establish that. Also, we did a project called dogmancams.com. We put cameras in the woods in Taylor, Mississippi. We put cameras in the woods in Fort Pierce, Florida, where you have the video from. We put cameras in the woods in Winona, Mississippi. And there was one in Kentucky that we put up, but I don't know what the hell that was. We caught on camera that one time, and then boom, that camera was gone. So I just wanted to lay out the credentials for what I'm going to say.
You say the camera, and you said, and then the camera was gone. Were you receiving the videos wirelessly from these cameras, or did you have to retrieve the SD cards?
So these were 4G wireless cameras that were put up in the woods that you can tap into. The Dogman Cams project was a live camera project that people paid, I think, $4.99 a month, and you, from the convenience of your phone, you could sit there and watch that camera 24 hours. We caught so much evidence that it was ridiculous. And that's where a lot of the insights on how these creatures move, how they behave, that you're going to hear me talk about comes from. And so it was live. We would stream it live on YouTube, where it'd be 1,000 people sitting there watching it live. We did live investigations in front of the cameras. We had a lot of Bigfoot activity in Mississippi. Around Taylor, Mississippi, we had a lot of Dogman activity. And then the one in Kentucky that went out, the guy put it up. He had probably one of the most popular Dogman encounters on my channel. He went into the woods. He put it up. It came on for a night. And we captured what looked like, only thing I can tell you is what looked like a portal, bro. It looked like a crack in time and space that looked like lightning just frozen in place. And it was there. He called me, DW, man, you got to look at the camera. Now, you understand this is a live feed. He calls me. I go and look at the live feed, and it's still there. And then within an hour, the camera's out. Won't work anymore, won't do anything. But it would literally look like a lightning bolt that was just frozen in place, like a crack in the dimensions. And we was like, what the hell is that? So I say all this to say, when we talk about this subject, I know what I'm talking about. It's not like I'm guessing. 1,300 witnesses at this point in time that I consider to be real witnesses. I've talked to probably 2,200 so far. The rest of those that I don't believe are telling the truth, I don't talk about them bad. I just gently excuse them and move them out of the way. And the data points are phenomenal when you really start looking at it. All right, so I just want to lay a foundation. So where do you want to start? Where do you want to know?
Well, first of all, I mean, it strikes me interesting that with the Dogman Cam, have you ever collected in one place the video evidence that you captured on those cameras and released those, or was that just to paid members? Or
no, that was released. All that stuff was released live, bro. It was, I mean, like literally the way it worked was that the whole purpose of that camera project was to fund researchers in the field. So the concept behind the camera project was this. The cryptid community has ample field researchers who go out into the field, right?
Mhm.
The problem that the average field researcher has is that they have a job and they don't have the extra money to pay for gas and all the rest of this.
Right.
So the
They're
concept was
weekend warriors.
the weekend warriors. So the concept was to expand out the camera network that would allow for different regional investigators to go out and investigate while they were live on camera, but be compensated. So 85% of the money that was going through that project was going out to the researchers. It wasn't coming into me or my partners.
Yeah.
The problem is what we discovered quickly is that in the field of cryptids, if it's not certain people's idea, they have a problem with it. And we also discovered that there's this anti-monetization thing in this field where, and I call it a religious aspect in the field of cryptids. It's like you can't make money off these things. And so what they wanted was given to them as like researchers. The audience loved it. I mean, they absolutely loved it. The researchers and the other creators didn't support it. And so quickly it went on about its business. I think it was up maybe 8 months in running. And then a spectacular fall because I shut it down. Because like, I'm not dealing with this foolishness anymore.
So the researchers that were benefiting from the funding that was coming through,
they were happy. It's the ones who were outside looking in that were attacking.
Oh, okay. I got you.
They considered it to be grifting, to be scamming, to be hoaxing. Because here's the thing: when you put something together that's live camera feeds, right? That's 24 hours that you, Eric, can tap into on your phone at 4 o'clock in the morning. Not that I can't. I mean, anybody who paid could tap into that feed, right? The concept was, it was a hoax. Well, bro, everybody and their mama was tapping into the feed. That was the reason why I've designed the project the way I did, was to prevent someone from saying it's hoaxing. So at any random time, you could capture evidence. So we were capturing things like eye shine that would start high up in the trees and would migrate slowly across from one side of the screen to the other and then take position and sit there. Then the next day, you would capture what looks like something bounding across the screen really quick, like this. And it wasn't me capturing it. It was random people who paid $4. And so then those people who paid the money, they knew that, okay, I paid for this. I get to share it. So the project was designed to where whatever was captured was shared. So it wasn't controlled evidence like, this is mine. It was like and when people immediately got it, they put it out. So that's how it was designed, because it was designed to get to the truth. I thought it was a phenomenal business model.
It is.
It's a phenomenal business model. And it was, if it would have been supported the way it should have been, you would have had cameras in every location, the LBL, everywhere that people thinks there's cryptid activity, you would have had it there. And every researcher that called that their research area would have been able to go research religiously, because it doesn't take, with 1,000 people at $2.99, $4.99, bro. It don't take a whole bunch of money to go out into the woods. Yeah. It's just enough for you to go into the woods and do the research. The agreement was, okay, pass in front of the camera, be in the area of the camera, let the audience see you. And that was it. So I
can't believe that somebody in the Bigfoot community hadn't taken off with this idea and done it themselves.
I can believe it. I can absolutely believe it. Because here's what I've learned being in this field. And I know we're supposed to be talking about, ladies and gentlemen, Dogman, ladies and gentlemen, but this is one of the fundamental problems with the field of research. There's field research, and there's a philosophy behind field research. It makes no sense. It doesn't add up. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. It's, I want to go find Bigfoot. But there's this excuse that's there that there's no money there. And so as long as that excuse is there, the being unsuccessful as a researcher, you don't have to produce any results. So as long as that excuse is there, you can say, I went in the field and I don't have any results. And you have an excuse. When the excuse is removed, it's like, oh, crap, I got to really do something. And so 90% of the people that say they're researchers, they're not really researchers. In fact,
I've run into that quite
a bit. In fact, I tell people this about Dogman. Actually, what is research? Research means that you're going out, you're taking time, you're taking wind pressure, you're taking geolocations, you're taking Latin longs, you're taking all this data that you come back with associated with the location. Most people that say they're a researcher, what do? They get up, they go walking out in the field, they look for footprints, they look for tracks, and they come back and say, "Oh, I saw a tree break," and they took a picture of a tree break. But that's research. And so when I pushed the research to a more scientific approach, then it was like, "Oh no, we're not doing that." And so I'm happy with it. It'll never happen again. I'll give my members cameras again. I have a camera going up at Goatman Bridge real soon in Denton. I have some cameras going up in Mississippi, but it's just going to be for members only. That's a part of my website. It's not going to be shared out, just for entertainment value for them. But as far as like the community as a whole, hell no, I would never do that again. That was a waste of time, money, and energy.
All right, so let's excuse me. Let's dig into this. Inform me on, because I'll be honest with you, I have no problems wrapping my head around Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I believe in a lot of this stuff, right? You know, I mean, it's UFOs, it's all of it. I have no problem wrapping my head around Bigfoot, whether it's an ancestral version of us, whether it's something that went haywire between apes and humans. But for Dogman, I think we talked about this when I did the episode with you. Dogman to me seems that it is evil and necessitates something to do with the spiritual realm.
Okay, so here's what I've discovered as it pertains to Dogman. There are 4 major theories that I have. So people want to make Dogman be one thing or the other. But when you go by data points and you go by what's presented to you, it's not one or the other. So, for example, I've had Dogman encounters where people called me from Dallas and they saw what looked like a werewolf in their bedroom in the middle of the night, standing at the foot of their bed. Credible witness. The husband's a police officer, right? Police officer ain't lying. That's something spiritual. There's no way that you're in a condo in Dallas and you're a Dogman, right? So what do you do with that? And what happens is the classifications lead to problems. So we got something that's clearly supernatural or spiritual. We have something that's clearly physical, which the video I showed you or I sent you will show that that's clearly physical. It's massive and it runs by a pole and it's like 12 feet tall. That's clearly physical. We have photographs, which are clearly physical evidence from that same location, right? Then we have what I will call interdimensional aspects of it, where like literally they disappear in front of people. Like you're here for a second, gone for another second. And so there's more than one answer to this problem. And everybody wants to stuff it into this one bag. And you can't stuff it into one bag. It doesn't fit in one bag. And as you look at the data sets and you look at the encounters geographically, based on, for example, give you another thing. For example, the people don't know this. The average person who has a Dogman encounter, they are in a certain state in their life. So it's common that person's gone through some kind of traumatic divorce. They've come through with some kind of cancer or sickness or illness. They're returning from a great time of turmoil. Like a lot of guys who come back from the military end up having encounters with these things. So they're in a certain position in their life where things are out of order when they have these encounters. And so these are the factors that play into, in my opinion, from what I've seen, why people have Dogman encounters. So when you start breaking it down to its core and its essence, you get to the point to where you can understand that there's a demonic manifestation of it. I believe that the demonic manifestation is a part and attuned to people who consume too much of the content, and whatever is attached to them manifests itself like that. What the hell going? Okay.
You're talking about it.
Yeah. Whatever manifests itself like that. Right. And then the next thing I believe is that there's the physical manifestation, but even within that, there are criteria for that manifestation. So you're not going to have a Dogman encounter on Bourbon Street in the French Quarters where I'm at, right? Not about to happen. However, if you start getting the right elements together, semi-rural, rural area, farmland, flowing water, enough game in the area, then you increase the chances of having that encounter. Then you combine the the traumatic elements of that person's spiritual kind of state with that environment, now you start having encounters. So it's kind of like having a key to pick a lock. Once you understand what's going on. And I've gotten to the point now where I can tell you, somebody said, "Oh, I had a Dogman encounter." I'd be like, "Okay, well, where was it? Where do you live? What's this? What's this? What was going?" And I don't even want to hear about the Dogman. I ask, "Okay, what was going on in your personal life? How's the relationship with you and your wife? How's the relationship with you and your son? How was your relationship with you and your parents?" Boom, 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 boom. Because I'm picking through trying to figure out what makes sense, why they had that encounter.
Right.
Let's talk about the concepts of where they come from, right?
Mhm.
Everybody is on this Nephilim thing. Fallen angel, Nephilim, Raphalim, Goyim is really what it's called thing, where it's this belief that these are the seed of fallen angels. And I can go with that biblically because it said that the fallen angels corrupted everything. It would make sense that they did corrupt a little bit of everything on this planet. And from my research, the eyewitnesses that I've talked to and the people that I've talked to that are in pretty powerful places, there's what they call a remnant version of them, which is nowhere near what people describe as the hostile, dangerous, crazy ones. But there's a remnant version of them that's been here for a very long time. That remnant version was taken and weaponized. And that's where you get these quote unquote super soldier Dogmen. Again, all these are terminologies that people are using today that's been around for a long time. But we're talking about when a person talks about a super soldier, you're talking about a Bigfoot body with a gigantic head like a freaking wolf. And that's what they're talking about. And it's a genetic modified being. So there's a natural being and there's a genetically modified being. Genetically modified being the one that's 10 times more aggressive and crazy, quite frankly.
And you mentioned you talked to some people that are high up.
Yeah.
And I'm not expecting you to divulge anything other than that. I think we all get what you're saying.
I don't mind touching on. Let's get into it. Watch this. So I go to Coast to Coast AM years ago. I only went one time, and there's a reason why I only went one time because I didn't realize what I was getting myself into when I went. I go to Coast AM, and I'm talking about the research that I've done down here in New Orleans with police officers who've been having supernatural encounters. So I go on Coast to Coast AM with Dave Schrader to talk about the supernatural encounters that the NOPD was having and some of the cops that were retiring that were telling me their encounters and stories. And it swings into Dogman. And I start talking about Dogman. A couple of days after I'm off that show, my son and I are sitting in the house and he comes knocking on the door. Boom, boom, boom. Yo, Pops. I'm like, what's up? So they had a white car sitting outside. And I look out the window. All right, whatever. White car out there. This the hood. Like, I ain't tripping. Go back, finish doing what we're doing. Next day, yo, Pops, that car's still sitting out there. Now, the car ain't moved. Same spot. All right, well, this car's still here in like an hour. We about to go see what's happening. So, car's still out. So I grab my pistol, go out the back door, walk up, tap on the window. Doot, 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 doot. Dude roll the window down. I look in his eyes. And I've seen that look before. It's the same look I've seen in the neighborhood I grew up in. Same look sometimes you'll see in my eyes when I get angry. And he says, "Hey, Mr. Williams." I said, "Oh, hell no." He was like, "Man, we really like the show, really like the content, but I'm not sure if you know what you're getting into." I said, "Well, you can tell me what I'm getting into." I said, "But I'm going to need you to do something for me." I said, "If you ever want to talk to me, don't sit outside my house, knock on the door and come talk." So I didn't want to startle or alarm you because you reacted the way I thought you would. I said, "That makes sense." He says, "I'll come back." Leaves, calls me. 00000 number. "Hey, Mr. Williams, what's up, man?" "I already know who it is." "Well, I wanted to talk to you about some things." So he just lays it out. "This is what it is. This is where it came from. Why are you telling me this?" He said, "Because we know your background. You used to work for the United States Space and Strategic Defense Command. You are an electrical engineer. You were recruited by the government. We understand you're a very intelligent man, but I just want you to understand that this is what goes on." And that's when I first started hearing about genetic modification and weaponization of them. Like, bro, this is going back 2000, came 2015. This is late 2016. You can go look it up. Whenever it was, look up Coast to Coast AM, Dark Waters. Whenever that interview was on Coast to Coast AM, which is still on their website, it was literally days after that. And so that's when I first started hearing about the genetic modification of them and being weaponized. And it was just laid out just as plain as fact. I know they've been here for a long time, and they won't be going anywhere either. So, I mean, that's what it is as it pertains to Dogman. What's more interesting to me is the concept of them being used as a weapon. I mean, if you really think about it, if there are, people talk about these underground bases and this
Dumbs.
and the lab and this and the dumbs and the dumbs, right? If there really is a location that needs to be protected, not from me and you, because I mean, what the hell are we gonna be doing going to those locations, right?
Right.
But if it really needs to be protected from, I mean, let's say it's a foreign government who has sleeper cells here that want to go to that location, it would make all the sense in the world that if it's in a heavily wooded area, that you would have something like that as protection for that area. Then when you look at a lot of the sightings and you compare them to the maps of what people proclaim to be the publicly known dumbs, which that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think the public know what the dumbs are. And all I'm gonna say is this: doesn't make sense, but they're in the area. But when you really map out the locations, we really map out the encounters. It personally shows where I believe the real dumbs are, because the activity is always around these certain type of areas.
So you're insinuating, or not insinuating, you're saying that these things are a protective measure around the actual military installations.
Yes, absolutely. So, for example, watch this. Fort Polk, right? Fort Polk is known for Bigfoot sightings and encounters. That's where they do SEER training, Bigfoot sightings and encounters, and Dogman sightings and encounters. Why in the hell are they going to be around a whole bunch of people with guns? Why would they be there? I think about it, an intelligent being, which we know these things have a certain level of intelligence. Why would they be around Fort Polk? And then you add in the fact that this is SEER training. This is, evasion training that people do in this on a regular basis. Why in the hell are they seeing these things? Why in the hell are they encountering? And these are military men. And the people who do that training are pilots, and they're the best of the best of the best of the best that are encountering these things. Why are they encountering them? Another thing, why is it that you have an influx of SEALs and other, ex-active military people into the field of cryptids? What have they seen? What do they know that sparked their interest to where they want to talk about it? These are the kind of things that from a high level, you look at it and you say, man, this is wild, because it's like peeling back layers of an onion. And I know people want to hear a scary story, but I'm just peeling back. I'm just going to rip the band-aid
And
off.
that's perfect. That's what I want.
You know what I'm saying? So it boils down to the fact that absolutely this is real. No doubt about it. People who, if anybody tells you that, Bigfoot's not real, Dogman's not real, you can confidently laugh at them. And I've gotten to the point now where I tell people, and nobody takes me up on a challenge. People be like, oh, I don't believe anything you say. I say, here's the coordinates, bring your ass there, go. And there's been some people who, like, one or two people that took me up on it that didn't like it, and it didn't go the way they wanted to. The people who don't take me up on it are the ones who real public. They're like, oh, you a liar. The people who email me in private, hey, man, I really want to go find Dogman. They'll go. And they're like, nah, bro, I'm never doing that again. Now, these people who front on YouTube and in the comment sections, if you go back, you'll see Facebook, my Facebook page, you'll see coordinates posted years ago. I mean, those coordinates are still good. I mean, just straight up, I just post them. Here, go here. Go here. Here's a cemetery where you can go in Alabama. Here's a spot where you can go in Mississippi, right behind Sardi's Lake, which is where some of the worst Dogman encounters happen. And so, as far as I'm concerned, it's 100% real. It shouldn't be messed with. It shouldn't be hunted under any circumstance. And more importantly, if a person professes that they're a Dogman researcher or a Bigfoot researcher, and they've been going out into the field for 10, 15, 20 years, and they don't have a body of proof, a body of evidence, like visual evidence, video evidence, photographic evidence, then bro, I don't know what to tell you, because we threw cameras up and we started capturing evidence immediately. It wasn't like it was hard to do. It wasn't hard to do at all.
You know, it's funny you say that, because like within the limited investigations I've done into paranormal stuff, you know, going to, you know, graveyards and being in haunted houses and stuff like that, I haven't done much of it. But what I have done, what I've gotten came very easy. So, you know, I've had people tell me, well, it's because you're more open to it and you're sensitive. And I don't know. Yeah, maybe, but I don't, it's not something I practice. It's not something I'm looking to hone. It's not something that I'm looking to try to make myself better at. But it strikes me as being very odd that, you know, you've got all these people that are going out and they're not getting anything. And then I go and, you know, I had my kids with me the one time, and it was so easy and so compelling what we caught that it made me question, I'm not going to do this with my kids anymore. I literally put them in a position that I should not have done.
Right.
Because I had no idea it was going to be that easy to walk into and get something.
Well, bro, I mean, that's the mystery to me of the field. I mean, it really is. I've met people who say, you know, I've been researching this for 20, 30 years. And I've interviewed people who I know have had encounters because of the things that they say are 100% true, but they don't have photographic evidence, but they have a justification. They say, oh, I respect these things in a manner in which I don't take photographs. But when they tell you the information, that information lines up perfectly. So you're like, okay, you saw something, right?
Right.
And then there's people who profess to be researchers. And to be clear, because people would be like, oh, Dark Water's talking about you. I ain't pointing out nobody in particular. If I was going to say your name, I'd say your name. I ain't scared of none of you. I ain't worrying about none of you. Y'all know this about me. The point I'm making is there's people who've been in the field long enough to where they should have produced evidence, and they haven't produced evidence. And it's not necessarily, it's a difference in tactics. It's a difference in tactics. I mean, some people want to walk around the woods with a camera. They like being outdoors, and that's research for them. My standpoint
is to be fair, that's exploration.
Yeah, it's exploration. And that's the perfect word for it. It's exploration. My thing is hone down the data points, find a place where there's been 10 to 15 sightings, pinpoint them in a 2-3 mile radius, and go drop something dead smack in the middle of there. Make sure it's the right season, the right time to extract all that data, and drop a camera pinpoint in the middle of that location, and let's see what happens. And it produces results, and it will produce results over and over and over again, because just like anything else on this planet, anything else in life, the data doesn't lie. Like, just numbers don't lie, man. I mean, they never have, they never will.
How is that different? You know, because I mean, you've been around this stuff for way longer than most, and I've only been covering this type of stuff for a few years, but I've been in it most of my life. How do you explain capturing evidence on trail cams of these things when that same effort being put forth in searching for Bigfoot yields literally no result? Because, you know, and then you get, you know, well, they know the cameras are there, and, you know, or they smell the plastic, or they can hear the internal components when it's taking a picture, or they're sensitive to infrared light. They see it trigger when a deer walks in front of it, and they recognize not to go in front of it. So, I mean, I understand all that, but is the Dogman that different of a beast that it just doesn't give a shit?
No, I don't think that's necessarily it. Again, it goes back to the data set. So, okay, for example, let's take a place like Land Between the Lakes, right? Mm-hmm. LBL is a place where people are tranching and walking around through the woods all the time, right? I'm going to the LBL to find the LBL Dogman, right? And they all run around in the woods. They run around 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s at a time. My success has not been going to those places. My success has been purely data driven. So it's This group, for example, there's a family in North Carolina. That family has had encounters for damn near 48 years, maybe 49 years now. Seasonal encounters. And that surrounding area has had seasonal encounters where these things come through, act a damn fool, and then go on about their business. So for me, that is a point where I will go put a camera. And it's a place where they have cameras, and I can talk to them, but that's where you go put a camera. Everybody, mom and I walk around in the woods. They're not running around leaving the trash. They're not littering. That is an exclusive location. So when I put the camera there, boom. Them things ain't seeing trail cameras. They ain't seeing, this is, wow, that's the spot. And so they are curious about it. But you take a public place like LBL, and I'm just using that for an example. Right. Everybody and their mom is an investigator. Everybody's walking around. Everybody's going to the little bunker structures where they got the concrete and all the rest of this. And it's weekly, week in, week out. Bro, you're not really capturing nothing. I mean, you're not going to capture anything. So it's really based on the approach that the person is taking. And so you have the approach of going to an area that's well known and well marketed, this is where the marketing in the field comes in at. If there's an area that's well known, well marketed, everybody knows about it, there's stories surrounding it, you don't have to be successful at capturing anything. People just want to see you go to the area, right? You can just walk around the area and everybody going to watch it because the area is well known. And so there's really no incentive to find anything because you're going to get the attention because of the location. Am I making sense to you?
Absolutely, 100%.
That's not how I go about it. My thing is, no, let's go get the evidence. And you're not going to find that. You're going to find this evidence in places. For example, Connor, the guy who we put the camera at his property where we caught the lightning bolt. Connor was a guy who his dog Jackson was killed maybe 2 years ago. But Connor and his dog Jackson had some of the most horrific Dogman encounters there are. It started off with him getting up in the middle of the night and hearing something outside banging on one of his vans because he would trade cars. There's something, and he had imagine having a front yard full of vehicles because he would trade and buy and sell vehicles. That's how he hustled his money. Here's something beating on the side of his van, goes to his front door, looks out the curtain, and shines a light with his shotgun. And he sees this little bitty Dogman pup stand up, and it's standing there. It looks real cute. He's like, yo, this thing is cute, man. It don't look bad. Shines a light further back, and he sees two big, gigantic eyes shining in the background. He's like, oh, okay, that's a problem. I'm going to leave that alone. You add the rest of his encounters where they were coming up to his window, looking at him at night because he's out in the middle of nowhere. They don't put curtains up. I told him he should put curtains up, but he still probably don't have curtains up. Looking through his windows, getting caught on the bicycles outside his windows, tripping up, yipping, falling, all kinds of crazy stuff. That accelerates to the point to where his house gets scanned with a green laser. Now, all this on my channel is public. Sitting in there watching, he's sitting on his tablet on Facebook Marketplace, trying to find some cars to buy and sell because he needs to make some money. See a freaking green light come through the house like a laser comes through, scan his house, scan back. 2 days later, this man he hears people outside his house, goes out his back door, and there's a tactical team outside his back door. Full tac team, full tac gear, full everything. He had a Saiga 12 shotgun pointing to one of the guys' backs. And I don't know what that is that popped up. He got a Saiga 12 shotgun pointing at one of the guys' backs. And the guy doesn't even acknowledge him. Don't even look at him. I said, well, Connor, what the guy look like? He's like, man, this dude was big. He was massive. He was massive. And I said, was he worried about it? He said, man, he didn't care that I was there. He said, it wasn't until I looked to my right and saw that there were 4 more of them that I was like, all right, I'm going to let this go. He gets up, goes the next morning, goes to the sheriff's office, goes to all these people trying to find out what's going on his property, why there was a team on his property. Nobody has an operation going in the area. Nobody has anything going on whatsoever in his area. That man was plagued back and forth by those creatures for years. They would be there, and he would always use his dog Jackson to detect them. Like he would get up in the morning, let the dog out. If the dog peed right by the back steps, he wouldn't go outside because he knew that they were out there. The dog ran off into the woods. It was all good. And so these are the type of locations where we're talking about putting cameras. That's the location where we caught. This is why I believe that there is a portal, that they come through portals and they're interdimensional, because I can't find any other justification for what the hell that thing was. And if you want the picture, I'll call him. I'm pretty sure he still has it. I'll call him and try and get some of the photos from him.
I'd love to see him.
I can't figure out any other justification for what it was. We shared it back then. Some people say, oh, it's the light from the camera, but you got to understand, his house is here, right? The woods that he put the camera in is way back here by my plaque, way over there. So ain't no light source out there in the middle of the night in the dark. There's nothing there for him to shine a light. You know what I'm saying? And these are IR cameras. So there's no light source in the woods back out there. And so when I start talking about my theories of Dogman, they're supported by the research. In fact, they're so supported by the research that I'm not even sure what else there is to research as it pertains to the topic. I'm just not sure what else there is to look into as it pertains to the topic at this point in time, because there's a physical manifestation of them that you can smell, you can see, you can shoot, you can run over it with a car. There's clearly some evidence that they come through portals, no doubt about it, hands down, point blank. It's clearly some kind of spiritual, and we'll just put them two together, spiritual, demonic manifestation of them, based on them popping up in places that they just cannot be and should not be. It doesn't make sense for them to be there. And so it's real. It's 100% real. And I'll tell you, just for your audience sake, like if you want to know, if you listen to a Dogman encounter and you want to know if it's true, don't listen to none of the stuff that happens in the encounter. Like, I saw it, it ran, it jumped, it grabbed me, it touched me. Fast forward through all that crap, because all that stuff can be compiled and mixed together. And listen for the results of the encounter. Listen for what happened afterwards. Listen for how it affected their lives, because there are things that are in common. For example, majority of people who encounter these things go through spells of serious bad luck. I mean, afterwards, bad luck. A lot of them are coming through bad things and things get worse. I would say it's a 70-30%. 30% of the people who actually have these encounters, they turn them and put them on the right road. The rest of the people is almost like they're being turned over to a certain amount of fear, and it just suppresses them and their life just goes straight down. Pew! And so listen for those things. Listen for the emotions when that person's talking, right? And put yourself in their shoes. If you saw, let's take a smaller one. Let's say you saw a 6 foot tall, 320 pound wolf that was standing on, no, let's make it 6'8", close to 7 foot. And it's standing on his hind legs and it's jet black. And you see that. I mean, that's scarring for the rest of your life. The context of your mind of what exists and what doesn't exist is broken. And what happens to true eyewitnesses is their mind can never kind of go back to where it was. You took their mind and stretched it like this. So if that's real, does that mean that, like ghosts are real or demons real? Is Candyman real? What the hell is Freddy Krueger real? That's what people go through. And so they have to go through this phase and they're trying to figure out what's real and what's fake. And it's hard for those people. And you can hear it in their voices because they come to the realization that the world that they believe they lived in no longer exists. Absolutely whatsoever. And that's the newbies. Now, if you find somebody who's silly enough, and I do say silly enough, that they're going hunting for these things, like, I want to go find Dogman. Bro, those people are absolutely never the same. Those are the people who have mental breaks, because what happens in those encounters is you have a concept, and I wouldn't call it pride, but what's the word I'm looking for? You have a concept of who you are in your head mentally, like what you can take and what you can't take. That person has built up this persona that I can go do this. I'm not afraid. I'm man enough. I'm woman enough to do this. Those things completely break them. It's different than somebody who just happened to come across it. That's a context of the mind change. Like, holy crap, this is real, right? This other person is going out there. I'm going to go hunt this thing down. I'm going to go find it. They're going out into the woods after an alpha predator as if they're an alpha. And it makes a point of showing them you ain't nothing. You ain't alpha. You ain't even a beta. You're nothing. And those people come back broken, bro. I mean, they come back sometimes physically broken, other times emotionally broken.
So throughout your conversations with the higher ups, people who know, within your data sets that you track, have you come up with a theory on if these things are in fact entering our realm of perception through portals and they're interdimensional? How in the world have our government or our military been able to strike a deal with them as far as to militarize them, to weaponize them? Why would they, because everything that I've ever heard of any Dogman encounter that I've ever heard, these are extremely aggressive and they hate us more than Bigfoot hate us.
That's not in every case, but go ahead.
But how are we, have you come up with an idea of how are we manipulating them into doing our bidding, and what's the exchange there? What are they gaining from it?
I don't think there's any exchange. Here's my thought process on how that happened. I think back in the day, our government captured something. That same something, they took it and they genetically modified and they worked on it until they had their own version of it. I think whatever comes through those portals is whatever the hell it is. And it's not beholden to anybody. Think about it. I mean, if you could pop up anytime you want, anywhere in the woods, who the hell gonna track you? Who's gonna get you? I think whatever's coming through those portals is not beholden to anyone. I think that's why I say there's different roads that lead to it. I don't think they're beholden to anyone. I think the ones that our government has captured for sure are beheld to them because they genetically modified them. These other ones, bro, they just do what they do. That's just like the cases of people killed by wild dogs, right? If you look in the news, and there's a guy named Jeff Nadalmi that really covers this a lot. I mean, this is where he cut his teeth in wild dog attacks. You will see in the news attacks where people are killed by wild dogs, mauled by wild. In fact, just Google the crap. Just Google man killed by a pack of wild dogs, woman mauled by a pack of wild dogs, right? And then you just start plotting out where those locations are and where those things are happening. You're going to find that all those things are happening in certain areas, and it's geographical areas, and it's along certain ley lines. And when you really take a look at it, in my opinion, that's something coming through a portal and whacking people and going about his business. I mean, because when you map it out, that's where these encounters are happening. So I don't think that our government has control over all of them. I think our government has control over what it owns. And it makes perfect sense that it would. They weaponized everything else.
The Eufy Video Lock takes the place of separate smart locks, security cameras, and doorbells all in one simple-to-install unit. A Phillips screwdriver was all I needed. The Eufy 330 Video Lock took me 20 minutes to install, and there is no hardwiring necessary as it's powered by a 4-month, rechargeable 10,000 milliampere hour battery. The Eufy Video Locks are complete with fingerprint technology, passcode entry, physical keys, and free local storage for crystal clear 2K video. There is absolutely no contract nor the need for costly monthly monitoring subscriptions. The free Wi-Fi driven iOS and Android compatible apps let you have full control over your new Eufy Video Lock system in just a few clicks. Convenience and security are extremely important, and the Eufy Video Lock delivers on both. That's Eufy, EUFY, Video Lock. Because as the host of uNcomfortable Podcast, you just never know who or what will wind up at your front door. Visit eufyofficial.com/videolock and get yours now. That's Eufy, EUFY. Yeah. Do you, I mean, based on what you've said, in some Bigfoot experiences that I've heard and in some Dogman experiences that I've heard, I've heard people basically state that the creature itself is generating the portal. It doesn't sound like with your explanation of it, because if the military was able to get their hands on one and capture it, if they were generating the portal themselves, they should be able to just like poof, and military doesn't have you anymore. Now you're gone.
I get what you're saying.
The
But
portal is the portal just a geographical anomaly? Is it in a certain place? That's where they come in. That's where they have to get back to get out.
bro, I can't answer that question. I never been.
I mean, I know you can't, but I mean,
I would pontificate, but I'm just saying realistically, I can't answer that question because I don't know where the hell. I don't know how to open a portal. I wish I did, because I would go find P. Diddy and have help to get him arrested, but I can't open it.
Amen.
The issue I think where we're struggling is we're trying to directly attach the two things, right? The government ownership being directly attached to what comes through a portal. That doesn't necessarily have to be that thing. And that's where the confusion comes in this field. It's like an algebraic equation, A plus B equals C, right? Everybody wants to make it one equation, but it's actually A plus B equals C, C plus D equals G. And it's different equations that you see when you look at the data. It's not one equation. So it's not A plus B plus C plus D equals G. It's different equations when you really look at how these things show themselves, how the people encounter them, the locations where they are. For example, let's take the ones that have happened in Gabon, Africa, right? Complete and total outliers compared to everything else I've ever seen. Totally associated with witchcraft. 100% associated with witchcraft. I'm talking about the most outlying of encounters there are. Talking about shamans summoning these things out of the jungle. You would think that if it came out of the damn jungle in Africa, it would be a lion man, or it would be a leopard man, or it's a damn dog. That don't make no damn sense. But when you talk to the eyewitnesses, they're like, no, James, I'm telling you, my friend, this is what I saw. It was a dog man. It had their head like a wolf. That don't make no damn sense. For me, in my mind, I'm like, okay, when I look at the buckets of classification, I'm like, where the hell does this crap go? So what do? You take it, you put it into the aspect of supernatural, demonic, but technically it's its own bucket. But it doesn't, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't add up linearly because it just doesn't all make sense. But it makes enough sense for you to see the highways or the roadways that is coming down. It doesn't mean we got all the intersections. And people want the intersections. And I don't know if we're going to ever have, the intersections where you get off the roadway and there's the rest stop. And you have complete and total understanding. I don't think we're going to get it. I mean, unless we're going to put like bacon on somebody's butt, send them and a camera on their forehead and send them to a location where we know there's portals and let them sit there. I wouldn't mind doing it.
I love bacon, so I'm not wasting any bacon on putting anybody's butt. Do you think there's any correlation between or association between the Dogman that what we've been talking about up until this point and the historical references to dog-headed men that some of early explorers have run into and recorded in their
documents?
Yeah.
When it came to that, the research of that, when I first started, everybody and their mama was looking at the dog-headed men. I think it was like one of the saints was supposed to be a dog-headed man or something.
Yeah.
Honestly, bro, I never looked into it. And I'll tell you why I never dug into it. Because to me, that historical data didn't take precedent over what people were saying to me at that point in time. Because it's like, okay, I can look back in history and say, oh, is this a solution out of history? Or can I just take what's right in front of me and do my best to break it down and dig into it and dig as much as I could? So honestly, bro, I don't know. I have not really dug into it. Even the theory of the Nephilim, the only thing that I've really looked at, because I'm in my mind, let me stop and say this. I'm going to slow down. So in my mind, the cryptid field right now is dominated by the concept of Nephilim, right? Fallen angels, see the children. Anybody who's ever read the Bible knows that the fallen angels were the angels that rebelled against God. And then their children were where the demons came from. So basically everybody and their mama is pushing out, promoting demons and fallen angels. I ain't really with that. I'm not about that life. Oh yeah, let's talk about the Nephilim. Okay, let's talk about the fallen angels that rebelled against God. Yeah, let's make them popular. I'm not really into that.
Right.
Only thing I did was
shine the light on them. Shine the light on them.
Yeah, let's shine a light on them. Let's make them popular, make them public. I'm not with all that foolishness, but you never really see me talking about it. I will reference it to say, okay, it makes sense that when you start talking about genetically modified beings, creatures, whether it be alligator man, which is called in State Line, Mississippi, is called I can't remember the name. Anyway, there's alligator man in State Line, Mississippi. It'll come back to me. What it means, alligator man, whether it's dog man, whether it's like a cat woman or jaguar man, or it's a lion man, those things make sense based on what's biblically written. But at the same time, I'm not finna run around promoting them. So as far as I was concerned about Dogman, when I looked for a historical explanation, it led right to that. And that's where I took it to, and I left it there. And then I just chunked into the data. So I'm not the best person to ask about, the traditional dog-headed men that were documented, because I never dug into it. I went into what eyewitnesses were telling me, because the only thing I could control was my encounters with those people. And over time, I got better and better and better at vetting them. And for the record, if you go listen to my Talking Dog Man show, I'm not promoting the show, but just for those who is older shows, you'll listen to me vet people's Dogman encounters live on air. Like it's a live calling show. They're telling their story, and you hear me looping them, injecting. You can hear it when it gets to the point where I'm like, oh, this person's lying. Because I'm like, okay, I'm going to let them go. All right, man, thanks for your call. Blah, 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 blah. In the middle of this story, boom, I'm letting them go right then and there. So you can witness me doing it by listening to me do it.
So predominantly, Dogman encounters that I've heard are terrifying. They are aggressive. They are absolutely something that you do not look back on fondly.
Mm-hmm.
In the Bigfoot realm, you have encounters where you have bluff charges, where you have acts of intimidation that appear to be keeping you out of an area, or turn your ass around, get back down the path, and go a different way. You have the ones that there's reports of, a child that was stuck in a quicksand, and a female one pulls him out and basically saves his life. You've got the ones out in the Pacific Northwest that seem to be big tree hugging and kind of fond of humans. You got the skunk apes down in Florida that are, completely different, much smaller, less hair, and seem to have a more pissed off disposition. Are the encounters of Dogman that you've vetted to be true, are they consistently bad, evil, nefarious?
No, they're not. And I got to tell you where the concept of everything being evil, bad, and nefarious comes from. That comes from the monetization of the topic. So people like scary Dogman encounters. Mm-hmm. They really do like terrifying Dogman encounters. And so we reached an impasse maybe about 4 years ago, where when a topic blew up, that you had an influx of what I would call like creepypasta narrators and storytellers that came in. Yeah. And those guys took the tenets of what a real encounter would be, right? The elements of what a real encounter would be. And then they spun it off and started telling stories. Well, those stories ended up being monetized and becoming a part of the lexicon of what Dogman is, right? Now, I'm not saying the chances are that if you see a Dogman, he gonna be nice. There's a whole bunch of different factors that go into how that encounter goes. But it's not guaranteeing that you see one that is going to run you down or chase you down or do you something. It's factors that are involved in it. And if you understand the factors that are involved, then you can really figure out whether the person is telling you the truth or not. But no, in no way, shape, or form is each and every encounter evil. Now, for me personally, there was a time period when I first started, everything I got was like, man, this thing terrified, it scared the hell out of me. It did this, it did that, it did this, it did that. And as I vetted more and more and more and more and more, and especially when I started doing like marketing to areas where they were known to have encounters, like along the Appalachian Trail, like putting little newspaper ads in. Have you seen anything weird or scary in your area? Give me a call, blah, 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 blah. And you start getting phone calls from pinpoint targeted areas, which that's documented. I've done that as well. Then you start getting other stories, like stories of them, like grandmothers praying against people who had preyed on their children, pedophiles, and something coming out of the woods that looked like a dog man and taking that pedophile and doing bad things to them, right? You start getting stories that are not necessarily, and I guess the way to explain it is this. We have a funnel, right? So YouTube and the existing stories are funnels, right? So this is the funnel. Everything comes through this funnel. But in the process of coming through that funnel, all those people have heard, seen, or watched some videos about Dogman, Bigfoot, or something. So what comes into that funnel ain't necessarily pure. And so you're going to find that it's diluted and there's all this other stuff mixed in it. Well, when you start to create pure funnels, like I started doing, now they're like this. And it's coming through and it's pure, baby. It's like 100% octane gas. Because those people don't know nothing about Dogman being popular on YouTube. They just little dude in a little hillbilly town that had some stuff in his backyard. And he's like, what the hell is this thing in my backyard? I saw something strange, Mr. Williams, and it was blah, 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 blah. They don't even know that there's a whole marketplace for these stories. They don't know that there's a whole market where they're traded. You know what I'm saying? And so it really boils down to what the source is. And that's why when someone comes to me and they say, oh, they send me an email from YouTube, I wanna tell you my Dogman account, they send me an email. My reply is, I don't take encounters by email. That's too easy for you to make up a whole bunch of stuff, right?
Sure.
Then when I do decide I'm gonna take a phone call and I do start talking to them and they start using terminology like you said, I'm like, hey bro, I gotta call you back. I got stuff I gotta do. Because
red flags.
It's red flags. So you're looking for the purest funnel you can find. You want uncut, pure, the best. And that's why my stories always stick out, because I'm actually searching for it. Everybody's accepting what just comes to them. I'm actively searching for the best. And I've done that for years. And that's how I was able to extract all that information. Does that make sense what I'm saying to you?
Absolutely. 100% it does. Throughout your career doing what you do, which make sure before we end this that you let everybody know where to find you if they haven't already heard you. I doubt that anybody has not known who you are, but you hear about the LBL, you hear about there are certain names who are associated with a story that has gotten a lot of coverage. What stands out to you as legitimate? What stands out to you as pure bullshit? I'm not saying you got to give names, but just, I mean, are there specific instances that people would recognize? Oh, he's talking about the blank sighting or experience that is real, or no, that was a bunch of made up shit and it's just for entertainment.
Well, I'll tell you like this. So I hold myself to a certain standard when it comes to witnesses and witness encounters from Dogman. I'll tell you why. When I first started this, it was the Wild Wild West of the Dogman community. And so everybody commented on witnesses that they never spoke to. So it would be somebody listened to a Dogman encounter by Vic Cunda, and then everybody had an opinion on it. Vic was the only person that talked to the dude, right? Like he's legit the only person that talked. Or I talked to a person and I put out a story and everybody was, oh, this is fake, but you never talked to the person. So I've held myself to that standard. If I haven't spoken to the eyewitness, I don't really comment on it. With that being said, so I can't tell you much about who's kicking off BS, because frankly, when it's a story or it's an eyewitness encounter and somebody else covers it, I don't want nothing to do with it anyway. So you won't find me covering the same people that everybody covers. So you'll find an eyewitness pops up, and watch this. This is how crazy it is. At least 3 eyewitnesses pop up per year that go viral in the Dogman community. You can time it. Normally one at the beginning of the year, one towards the middle of the year, one towards the end of the year. How that happens every year, the hell if I know. But re-pop up, reset a narrative. That narrative is what people are on for the whole year. So whatever. It is what it is. I can tell you somebody that is 100% real. Blue in Fort Pierce, Florida. And I can tell you is 100% vetted, is 100% true because his footage, which is what you're going to show later on, has been vetted by TV stations, the Travel Channel, and another, maybe Sci-Fi Channel. No, I don't want to lie to you, but one of them for sure is the Travel Channel. Authenticated, right? His photos authenticated. I interviewed him 2 times, brought him as a business partner on a project where he owned part ownership in Dogman cams, put cameras on the roof of his house, pointing to the same spot where he saw the Dogman. People watched the eye shine of this thing move up and down the dam in the woods for months. That's 100% vetted that went out to the public. Connor, 100% vetted. I can name, and here's my thing. I don't always allow my eyewitnesses to come out. Like, there's some people who want to come out now that say, well, DW, you know, people been attacking you, calling you a fake and a fraud. I want to come out. I'm like, it don't matter, bro. Like, what is it going to do other than bring you under scrutiny?
Right.
And
then the hate's going to be on you.
then the hate's going to be on them. And that the whole purpose of me doing what I do is so the hate can be, I don't care what nobody thinks. The hate can be on me all it wants. But for what happens when an eyewitness gets that hate and they get that, because most people, it's really a form of energy, bro. I don't know if you've ever, like, I don't know if you ever detected it. So like if you when I put out a video on YouTube, right? Especially my shorts videos, when I'm talking about aliens and cracking jokes and saying big-legged black women was kidnapped by aliens and skinny-legged Latino women were kidnapped, there's a certain energy that comes with that. So I'll look at the comments and everything is, this is fake, this is fake, this is fake, this is fake, this is fake. I'll talk about that. Remind me to talk about that in a second. There's a certain energy that comes with it. And so when you look at it, you can literally feel it. You're like, man, this is crazy. I put satire on here. Why are these people saying that it's fake? But you can feel it.
Yeah.
And I've been in the business for a long time. So I know how to feel it and be like, okay, this don't feel good. Delete. Don't ingest it at all. I'm just like, okay, click the button, highlight all of them, delete. It don't matter. Click the button, highlight all of them, ban. But for an eyewitness who's been in this bubble and then they have this encounter and then they're seeking help for the encounter, they go through this roller coaster ride. It's like you come out, you got all these people who give you this attention. Oh, you're the greatest. You're the best. You boom, 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 boom. We love you. We love you. We love you. Then here it comes. Oh, that's fake. That's fake. That's fraud. And they crash.
Yeah.
And I tell all my witnesses, I'm like, look, if you want to put out some stuff, you want to come out, you're going to be popular for exactly 30 days. Huh? What you mean? I said, you're going to be popular for 30 days. After 30 days, everybody's moved on to the next best thing, which that's something I don't understand either. Like in this field, in fact, name a field of study where you discover something, right? Significant. You get some significant discovery. And then after 30 days, nobody really gives a damn about it. Nobody looks into it again. Nobody researches again. Nobody digs deeper into it. I mean, think about it. If that's how we treated real discoveries, we wouldn't be flying around in airplanes, right?
Right. Yeah.
This is the only field where you don't have enough. You can never have enough. So in my opinion, like, you'll see the footage. Like when you see Dogman run across the screen and it's got the huge ridge on his back, you can see the nose, you can see the hawk legs. In my opinion, what else do we need to find? You see, that's what everybody been talking about right there. But people want more. Now, I want to address this one more thing. I want people to see this. There is something that goes on. I'm not sure who it is, but there's some group that across the board shifts the narrative, and they're doing their best to shift the narrative. Anything that's evidence, they're proclaiming it to be fake. And if you want to see an example, go look at I have a video about this girl in Congress, and like she's talking and the girl behind her is moving her lips and blah 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 blah. It has 1.8 million views. It has something like 12,000 comments. Bro, 80% of the comments is that it's fake. And that's what made me start to experiment with what I call the force that's behind everything. That's what I started doing satire videos. Because I said, hold on. If everything you post that has a photographic piece of evidence on it or a video piece of evidence, the minute it comes out, there's accounts calling it fake. I'm talking about, bro, like it drops at, what time is it? It's At your time, it's 5:52.
5:52.
At 5:53, it drops. At 5:54, it has 10 comments that says it's fake. I'm like, hold on, but where's that coming from? So I tested it, Eric. I said, okay, let me put out a bunch of videos. Now let me come back and let me crack jokes and let me put satire. Because it would make sense that if it's a real person and they see that I'm cracking a joke, think about how much of a joke it is. Oh man,
Right.
aliens are kidnapping skinny leg Latino women and they're trying to trade them for fossil fuels.
I don't know why that tickles me so much, but the first time I saw it, I was like, what in the hell is he doing here?
I'm testing the marketplace, right? So I put it out. I don't put satire on the first ones. I test it out, I put it out, and it's fake. This is fake. This is fake. I'm like, okay, maybe people just that dense, right? Okay, so I'm like, I do a couple of more of those. I said, now let me take it a step deeper. Let me make it even more crazy. So I said, big-legged black women in Atlanta are being kidnapped. I call myself the Stankonian ambassador.
Stankonian ambassador.
From the planet Stankonia. And big-legged black women are being kidnapped by aliens. And I put this orb going across the sky. And I said, I'm trading in Jada Pinkett to get y'all back. Don't worry about it. The Stankonia ambassador has your back. Fake, 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 fake. And I put satire. I said, hold on. So I'm sitting there looking. I said, hold up, man. Now, that don't make no damn sense. That don't make no sense at all. Because anybody that's not a bot, anybody who's not a bot is going to sit there and say, this dude crazy. Something wrong with him. So I get some comments like, bro, you lost your mind. Okay, that's a real person. Some people laughing. They find it funny. But then there's this section that, oh, this is fake. This is fake. I'm like, can it be that many bots that are activated in this field? I mean, bro, it's insane. I mean, this is fake. This is fake. This is fake. This is, and I know there's people who don't have personality. So I hit them again, Eric, and I start talking about lizard people. I said, man, I had left the lizard people alone, but your children won't leave me alone. You talking about me, so here goes some more lizards, just to see what would happen. Fake. It's fake. It's fake. I'm like, bro, this is crazy. There's something going on there, on a larger scale that I'm not sure that we're all aware of, as it pertains to evidence being rolled out. And I think it's a narrative setting mechanism that's in place, or a narrative defeating mechanism that's, I'm gonna keep toying with it and playing with it to find out. But it's got to be something there. It just doesn't make any sense.
That's interesting.
I will go back and I will comment to people and be like, hey, dummy, this is satire. No reply. So I started insulting people. Your mama.
See, now that you say that, I was looking at those comments. Mm-hmm. I think it was on the one where you were going to trade Jada Pinkett's to get their return.
Right.
And I was watching those comments and I saw you post that it was a joke, that it was, and there was no response to it.
Yep. That, bro, I'm telling you, that's what I'm more intrigued by right now, because I'm sitting here saying, hold on, man, this don't make no damn sense. It don't make no, so it's going to get progressively worse, bro. I'm telling you, I'm about to just jump off a cliff with all kind of crazy stuff just to see, because it just don't make no sense whatsoever. I mean, it doesn't. I know that we as human beings have senses of humor, right? Like, you can catch satire. You know what I'm saying? And if it gets to the point to where it's utterly ridiculous and you still calling it fake, then bro, that's a pre-programmed bot that's saying it. And then I want to know who's doing it, because you're doing a terrible job if that's what your solution to the problem is.
Like, if that's what the information you're feeding that bot is not.
You need to pay me, and I can do a much better job than you, because that crap you're doing is dumb. But it's exploitable, so I'm gonna exploit it while it's there. That's what happens when you pick on an engineer. They figure out stuff and exploit it. I'm gonna exploit the hell out of it. Give me as many comments calling me fake as you want. I'll take them all. You know what I'm saying? I'll take them all.
James, have you had a Dogman experience?
Oh, yeah. I was stupid enough to go to Taylor, Mississippi. I was stupid, bro. Like, when I first started in this, everybody was talking about Dogman. I'm one of the guys that didn't believe. Like, straight up, I didn't believe no damn Dogman. And I ended up going to Taylor, Mississippi with a guy named Skip. Those of you who don't know anything about me, I'm electrical engineer by trade, worked for Department of Defense, worked for Ericsson. When I was in New Orleans, when I was working in New Orleans, I worked for Energy, the power company. And so Energy has crews that's all throughout the woods. Transmission line design engineer is what I did. And so when I wanted to find out what was going on in the woods, I mean, bro, there's guys who are that's distribution line design engineers, the distribution linemen. I could just find out by picking up the phone. So I started calling people. I was like, look, bro, it's my understanding they got this werewolf thing in Taylor. I talked to my partner, Dave Dunbar. I was like, Dave, can you hook me up with somebody up there? He's like, nah, I got a partner up there named Skip. Man, I make the stupidest mistake on a planet, and I go up there. And looking back on it, like, I wouldn't say I wouldn't do it again, but what I would say is this. I'll never not believe that something exists again. I guess that's the best way to put it. Like, I went there fully saying, man, this crap don't exist. This is some BS. Even though the man told me what he went through, that he was trapped in a bucket truck with them throwing rocks at him, and he was scared out of his mind. And that's how he first saw Dogman. I don't know, but I just couldn't wrap my mind around it. So anyway, we go out there. He takes me to the location where he had his sighting, where he was up in his freaking bucket truck. And we're just out on the side of the road talking. And he was like, well, we're going to be here when the sun goes down. So we're standing out there on the road. Sun started going down. And I should have knew it was some BS coming because these crows just flew up and they just started squawking. And I never had a good relationship with crows, but they just like looking at me. Wah, 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 wah. I'm like, what the hell wrong with y'all? And bro, I would say probably about 4.5 minutes after they started doing that stupid squawking and going crazy. And then like, it's kind of like as the sun hit behind the trees, bro, it sounded like freaking NFL linebackers running through the woods, bro. Like Refrigerator Perry, like Ray Lewis was tackling trees. I mean, bro, it's coming. I mean, like crack, boom, crack, boom, crack, crack, crack. And again, bro, I'm from New Orleans, dog. I'm not really like an outdoors dude. You know what I'm saying? I ain't running around in the woods like that. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like it could be anything. But nonetheless, we end up going back to the truck, and he gets in the truck and gets ready to go. I don't know why my screen did that. He gets in the truck, and I end up putting my body halfway in the truck where my leg is just up, but I'm not all the way in. And bro, he gets scared and he pulls off and he leaves me. And I don't know if you know how they have the little footrest on the outside of the truck. You got the door open.
Yeah.
You got the footrest. Well, this will be the door. This will be the footrest. I just got my leg up on there. The door's laying against my hip, and I'm looking around, and he just pew gone. I mean, took off, bro. Leave me standing there in the middle of the freaking road. And my man, let me tell you something. I had a lot of supernatural encounters where you get or it's demonic stuff coming for you. I mean, I'm talking about real deal supernatural stuff. I'm talking about the stuff that they should make movies about. So I've had my hair stand up. I've had those emotions and those feelings go run through your body. Bro, to this day, I've never felt nothing like that. That level of fear of the presence that was there. And then to see this just a massive black mass move from left to right. Bro, that level of fear I've never felt. I'm talking about I almost peed myself standing in the middle of the road. And the only thing I could think to do was like try to defend myself. You know what I'm saying? Try to square my feet up. Try to bring my hands up. But bro, that was probably the most intense moment that I've ever felt in my life. And that's me knowing that they're there. Not necessarily seeing them come out and go, Rrr. I mean, there's no doubt that they were there.
Yeah.
Make a long story short, he finally realizes that he left me. And I hear him slamming on the brakes. I'm talking about, and then you hear his engine accelerating, him coming back. And when he comes to get me, he's got the hood of the car pointed at me, like he's about to hit me. And I had to step out of the way, he comes to a slide and stop, and I just jump in the bed of the truck and we pull off. And him and I got into it over that, bro, because I was pissed because I was like, bro, you left me. He's like, dude, I didn't leave you. And he's crying. We talking about a grown ass man, like crying. I wouldn't have never left you. I didn't leave you. I thought you was in a truck. You know, like he was terrified out of his mind. Now here's the crazy thing. 2 days later, there were 3 more sightings right there in the exact same spot where I was. 3 sightings. So I don't know. I will never ever go looking for Dogman again. It doesn't make any sense. Even with the camera projects, I'm not going to the woods looking for him. Like Goatman Bridge, I'm paying somebody to go put that camera out there. I'm not messing around at all. Because once you understand the risk that you take, it's really a coin toss when you go to these locations. I mean, it truly is. unless you know as an individual where you are, like mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in that moment where you have that encounter, unless all that stuff is in sync where you completely and totally protected,
Yeah.
bro, you begging for a disaster. And it don't make no sense to do it. Because at the end of the day, here's the craziest thing, because at the end of the day, when you come back and you tell somebody your encounter, they're gonna say you're lying. So you went out there and you pissed your pants, you pooped yourself, and then you're gonna have massive amount of people saying that you lied to them. So it don't make no sense.
Yeah.
I mean, in totality, that's what I've learned from it, bro. And that's what I share with eyewitnesses. I said, bro, listen to me. You want to go see it? I mean, not eyewitnesses, people who want to go see. You want to go see it? Let me tell you what the process you're gonna go through. You're gonna go there. Either you're gonna see nothing, or you're gonna go there and you're gonna see something. Your life is gonna be forever changed. The people that you expect to embrace you because of what you saw are going to reject you. So now you're traumatized and you're rejected all at the same time.
And you have no support.
Yeah. And so it doesn't make any freaking sense. And bro, that's just the real lowdown on Dogman. Like people can sit here and tell you 1,000 scary stories. Oh, it jumped on the roof and it ripped the window off and it did this and it blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they do some terrible, terrible things, but I believe they do them for a reason. And I believe the majority of the terrible things that are done to terrible people. For example.
So you think this is kind of like a revenger?
It's something. Think about it, bro. You were telling me a story about somebody who just recently was in a truck and it chased him down in the truck. I don't know the story, but here's what I know about Dogman encounters. You ain't just riding along and it decides it's going to chase you down. And that ain't how it works. There's plenty of people who have flat tires on the side of the road encounters Dogman. People who kicked their kids and pretty much got their butt whooped for kicking a little mini baby Dogman, thinking it was a regular dog. Yeah, they got dealt with. You know what I'm saying? They got mollywopped for that. But there's something about you that provoked that encounter. It just does not. It's just not, oh, I was there and it was pissed off. It's something about the individual. And it's always something about the individual. Nobody wants to talk about that because then it opens the door to, okay, what type of individuals are having these encounters? It's just like the missing 411. Nobody wants to talk about background of the people who went missing.
Right.
Because as long as it's on the surface, Eric, it's easy to be marketed. Nobody got you don't have to do no heavier lifting. It's easy research. Bro, if you running into them things and they chasing you down trying to put hands on you, bro, you did something. I don't know who you did it to.
That's interesting. That's interesting because there's a lot of context to people of German descent in the missing 411. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying.
Bro, it makes all the sense in the world, bro. And that's the thing that kills me. And I'm going to be frank with you, but that's the thing that kills me altogether when I talk about the field. And I'm actually search engine optimizing away from the topics of cryptids. Because that's what kills me about the field. Like, see, I mean, you can have this conversation. I can dissect these things. I'll go a little bit deeper. Think about it like this. We know that genetically, our blood is our father's blood, right? So your blood is your father's blood, grandfather's blood, great-grandfather's blood, right? What if these things can actually sense and smell what's in that blood? What if your family has come across them in the past?
What's a link to your lineage? Yeah.
Yeah. What if your lineage crossed them, fucking 4 generations ago? And you're like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I know you. I'm about to bust your behind. Bro, it's so many doors to explore that you can open. What if they actually smell the filth and sin on you, and the dirt on you, and the things that you've done? What if they're empty vessels that are inhabited, which I believe some of them are empty vessels. What if they're empty vessels that have been inhabited by demons, and demons need bodies, and demons love to steal, kill, and destroy? And guess what? They can only touch you if you are in the wrong spiritual state. And okay, so I'm a demon. I got a werewolf body. Oh, you've been messing with little children? You've been touching on little boys? Oh, I'm gonna rip your head off. We're gonna make you disappear. It's so many doors you can go down with this. Nobody goes down the doors though. Nobody opens the doors and goes into the basement with the flashlight. Let's see what's going on with it. And that's the thing that disappoints me about it, bro. Because I'm the fake and the fraud. But when you talk to nobody, you ain't gonna find nobody talking about it like this. You know what I'm saying? So
that's very true. Between your personal experience that you just described to me, how how visually impaired were you to where they were at? Did you, much earlier in the conversation, you talked about the like an anatomical data set that you've
Mm-hmm.
picked and pulled from experiences.
My encounter ain't got nothing to do with that data set. That got to do with the people who shared with me the videos I've seen, the pictures I've seen, and the description.
But did they line up?
Oh,
did they line up? Did you see them well enough to know that they were Dogman versus Bigfoot?
I saw something well enough to know that it was something there. Not to say there was I can tell you it wasn't no Bigfoot because the area's not known for Bigfoot. It's known for Dogman. It was the exact same spot where they're known to come at the exact same time they're known to come. What I saw was what looked like a giant mass with sharp ears that moved from behind one tree to the next. And that was it. And
so there was something there was some indication that it
yeah, absolutely. There was an indication that was a Dogman.
So now, that data set that you've pulled, can you give us an anatomical description that is common to most Dogman encounters?
I can do you one better. There's a whole breakdown of it called Dogman 101, and it goes down. It's a full breakdown of the types, the ones that look like foxes, the one that looks like German shepherds, the ones that look like black timberwolves, the ones that look like genetically modified soldiers. I mean, it's a whole breakdown. This is the craziest thing. All that data is out there. Dogman 101, Dogman 102, 103, and 104. 104 is when it gets to the spiritual aspects of it. I mean, all my data is out there. That's why I've been saying, bro, it's like, I don't know what else to cover on the subject.
Yeah.
The location maps are out there. My sighting map is out there. My sighting map shows you where they travel from South America, across our border, cross up through the Sabine River area, come up to the top of Louisiana and Texas, go over, get on the Appalachian Trail, cycle all the way back around. They come back around, go through Oklahoma, and then there's a swath. I'm talking about a mountainous swath that leads back down through Texas that leads back to the border. I mean, it's all there. I mean, I put it all out there. There's literally nothing that I've done that's hidden. Like, because my engineering mind, in my mind, you're not a researcher until you produce something to support what you say. That's quantifiable, that people can go back and test and see if you're telling the truth or not. And they can go see, okay, well, he put this out 3 years ago. He was still talking about exactly what he put out. And with maybe an update here or there. So, I mean, it's all out there. 101, 102, 103, 104. And so I can give you multiple descriptions, but it's easier if you look at it like that. There's the one that looks like a red fox that's standing on his hind legs. There's one that's black that looks like a black Bigfoot with no hocks and just Bigfoot body, huge barrel chest, a head that's freaking big as a car tire. If you run into that, you got a problem, you need to run because you're going to die. And that's just, you're going to die. You're dead as they come. I don't know what to tell you. You're going to die. There's some that look like gray wolves. There's some that look like German shepherds that have those super duper pointy ears on top of their head. Anatomic secrets, I'm not giving those publicly ever because I need those in order to vet. If someone
right, and I'm not asking you to do that. I just wanted to paint a picture of, out of your data set, what do these things, I mean, do they have human-looking arms? Do they have massive triceps and biceps? Do their forearms come down to a regular hominoid-looking hand? Or is it a claw? Or is it still a pad like a foot? You know, or do their feet?
For example, I'll give you one key. So if you go out and you see people who, watch this. All right, so people go out and they be like, they found a paw print like a Dogman print, right? Mm-hmm. Say this, boom, 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 boom. They'll go out and they'll say, oh, I found this, and this is a print, right? Where is it? Right, that's a print. The way you know it's a real print is you're going to find an indentation back here. You're going to have the print, which is the paw print. You're going to find an indentation back there. Because the way the foot is atomically made with the hock, it's kind of, I'm a terrible drawer, but where the foot is atomically made with the hock, when they step, their other point of support is a ball that's on the back of their foot. And so you'll see the print, and then you'll see the ball on the back end. If you're looking at photographic evidence. Somebody say, I found the Dogman footprint. And all they're showing you is just the front paw print. Start looking for the ball on the back end. If you don't see that indentation, then there ain't no damn Dogman. Point blank, period. And if they got a set of tracks and you don't see that at all, you may see it in one print and maybe missing another, because you think about if something stands still, it'll rest in there, but it could be could be running up on his front, on his paws, on his feet. But at the end of the day, when they rest and they stand still, boom, you're gonna have that full print. Those are some of the things that, that's really one of the secrets that I feel comfortable giving. As far as the arms, massive, what you would call biceps, claws. Like literally paws with claws. Now, I ain't talking about no little bitty shit off the movies, bro, type claws.
Yeah.
Thin waist, massive. Each and every species has massive thighs to the point to where it's disproportionate to the lower legs. The thighs are massive, which leads to their ability to run down and jump over things like people have seen. So many eyewitnesses I've talked to have had them on their roofs, and they all say, well, DW, how can it get on my roof and like I don't hear the thud? Like, it's on the roof though, and it was on the roof the whole night. Now they'll hear the weight on the roof, but they don't hear it land on the roof. And I for the longest time I was trying to figure it out. I'm like, what can jump? You know, the average roof 20 feet up in the air. What can jump up 20 feet in the air, but has a massive size, but not like make a bloom when it gets up there?
Yeah.
And it has to do with the ball of their feet and the padding on their feet. Now, the problem they have is once they get up there and they start moving, you are going to hear them moving. That weight is going to revolve and it's going to move on that wood is going to creak. But and then I've always thought, now I'm pontificating another aspect of it that I can't 100% prove. Sometimes I think that whole interdimensional aspect plays in with moving to a roof or moving to certain locations from one point to the next, where it's just no sound whatsoever. But then it doesn't add up to me because, okay, now that weight's there. So those are things that I always toy with and I'm trying to figure out. But at the end of the day, Dogman 101, 102, 103, 104. If you want to see the evidence of what happened in Fort Pierce and the old camera footage is on my YouTube channel. Look up Talking Dogman Talk Show. I'm pretty sure it's called the Talking Dogman Show. And doing those shows and those live streams, I would take phone calls while the cameras were live. So it would be the live cameras playing. I'd be like, hey, we're going to take phone calls, blah, blah, blah. Let's go check the cameras. And so I'll pull up the cameras, stream them, and then take phone calls, and we all would discuss what was on the cameras. So you see the Fort Pierce camera footage. You'll see the Taylor, Mississippi camera. You'll see the Winona camera. You'll see I don't think you can see the Kentucky stuff with Connor because that one went out. But you'll see those three for sure.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, stick with us. After we say our good nights, I am going to add the video in that DW here has gracefully shared with me. Is there anything you want to say about this video before we play it?
No, check it out. It's blue.
Stands on its own.
Yeah, it speaks for itself. It's in the first couple of seconds. You'll see this thing run across. And then when I tell you, every TV show and their mama wanted that footage at a point in time. But his encounter was indicative of what people go through that are Dogman eyewitnesses. Should I say that? So, yeah, I am going to say it. So here's the thing. For example, Eric, you and I, we're in this field, right?
Yes.
What ends up happening is our channels will be scouted for things like this. Right? So somebody will scout, DW, you got a witness that does bada bing, bada boom, that scene, bada bing, bada boom. They want to get in contact with your witness. That witness name is made hot. They're made popular. They get all this attention, all this blowback from it. And they want to give the person $500 or give the person $200. for my eyewitnesses, like Blue ended up making probably $12,000 to $15,000 from his encounter, because at the end of the day, the evidence, like good quality evidence like this, bro, is few and far in between. And so when you get to the point to where you have something like this and you know everybody else is going to monetize it, the eyewitness should have an opportunity to monetize it for themselves.
Fair enough,
and really take care of themselves, because they need to be compensated for what's going to come down the pipeline. I say that to say it's important that people from this field that are like active contributors or content creators from this field rise to a position of prominence where we can actually do right by the witnesses. Like there were people, and I'm not going to say this person's name. This person was in the Dogman community for a very long time. And when we talked about TV shows, I got an offer. And people say, hey, we want you to come on a show. It's like, we'll pay you $500. I said, I'll come for $1,500. We never pay anybody $1,500. We'll make it $2,000. I kept on going up, right? And they're like, man, well, why would you negotiate like that? I said, because I have the credibility that they need. And so what ends up happening is, because it's a TV show, because it's, this is a travel channel, because it's this, they lowball everybody that's actually has a credibility. But they get your credibility for, pennies on a dollar, and then they monetize and they make all the money on the planet. And we have to get to the point to where, and I don't see it happening, that's why I'm shifting away from the topics altogether. If people would come together, then the people who create content in this field would dominate every streaming platform. Because within the genre, we have everybody who has everything they need. You got people who do investigations that are dope. I mean, they got great cameras, they got great production, they got everything. Yeah. But there's this competitive nature to the field that won't allow that to happen. So it's going to continue to be exploited. And people are going to continue to be exploited because those who have the ability to actually create an avenue where eyewitnesses can truly be taken care of, they won't do it because they want to compete with each other, which I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It
is what it is. That's just my thoughts on it, bro. After being in it for 9.5 years, like you get to a point to where you're just like, yo, this is BS. This is BS. This is truth. This is BS. Bada bing, bada boom, bro. You know what I'm saying?
And at the end of the day, what does it matter? You've got the people that if your evidence is photographic, if it's too clear, they're going to say it's fake.
No, it's AI now. If it's too clear, it's AI.
If it's too blurry, they're going to bitch that it's nothing. You very rarely can find that pocket of people that you can make happy. And, I guess that's kind of where we come into our audience obviously finds something about you. Your audience finds something about you that whether it's your credibility or it's it's your presence or your presentation, they stick with you. They want to hear what you have to say. And that's the same that I run into with me in my audience, so, there's definitely a I don't want to say a pressure, but a responsibility to remain true to yourself and me to myself. And I think we talked about this a little bit the last time we had a conversation. But you're never going to make everybody happy. And if it's too clear, it's fake. If it's too blurry, it's fake. And you just got to find your audience, I guess. So,
well, the truth of the matter is there's a pocket of people out there. I mean, here's the pocket of people that actually don't have those opinions. It's the pocket of people who want to be entertained. So there's, when you're in this genre, you're with the pocket of people who say, it needs to be real. It needs to be this. Once you get outside of that and you get to the people who want to be entertained, bro, they turn it on, they laugh and they having fun. And it's almost like the borderline of, you got to go into Normieville a little bit for it to make sense. Inside this genre, where it's so critical and so hypercritical, it's, I believe this and I have my opinions. You literally got to migrate to Normieville, to the border and cross the border of Normieville in order for it to make sense. In order for it to be accepted to the point to where you don't have to deal with all that foolishness. I mean, that's just the honest truth of it.
It is an honest truth, and I think I see that in myself, because like certain TV shows, Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, shows that when they first came out, I was like, couldn't wait till the next episode came out, and now every episode it's a portal to hell, or it's demonic, or it's this, or it's that, and I'll still watch those shows. Mm-hmm. As whether you want to call it a guilty pleasure or it's a comfortable thing because it's a topic that I'm interested in, but it's not something I have to sit there and keep my eyes peeled because there's going to be some incredible evidence that's going to come across. It's just they're talking about topics that
it's entertainment.
Yes,
it's entertainment, and that's the intersection where that's the intersection where the true success is. I mean, I'm just shooting and keeping it real with you, bro, and your audience. Like, as long as you're in this intersection, it's going to be fake, it's blurry, it's this, it's that, it's this. Once you get out of that, which I've done it multiple times, and I learned this by going viral multiple times. The first time I went viral, 75 million views, and in hell, 90 days. It's like you break through a ceiling, and you get to some fresh air, and you're looking around, and you're saying, okay, all right, these people just want to be entertained. They're not worried about our wrestlers. Then if you're not careful, your algorithm plunges you back down. You're in there, you're like, okay, this is crazy. What's going on? I'm back where I was. And you break through again, and you're like, okay, there's some fresh air out here. And that's the truth of the matter. That's why it's important that it's people from within the field who have the knowledge base that actually break through and make it happen. Because now we bring what's real to those people who are normies, and that's how you really make a difference. If you want to make a difference, I mean, you consider it making a difference.
DW, I appreciate your time and I appreciate your friendship. You're a pleasure to talk to. You are a consummate professional. I'm really happy to be able to bring you in front of my audience, and I'm sure they'll appreciate that. I want to thank you for taking the time. It's been a pleasure.
Anytime you want me back, bro, we can hang out and chop it up, man. I love talking about it. Hopefully, we touched on the stuff you wanted to touch on. You wanted the real.
I had a very loose framework that I wanted to work within, and you delivered. So
awesome sauce, my brother. All right, man. Well, I'll catch up with you later.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Peace out, brother.
Good night.